The world could be a better place with love and unity. Together, we shall conquer the world. Linkway Diplomats is working to solve problems in needy areas such as water problem, community empowerment, community health, basic education, temporary shelters for homeless and travelers, rehabilitation and integration for inmates. Linkway Diplomats, linking people with people. Your community resource network.
Hello everyone and welcome to Linkway Diplomats Hour, your community resource network program. Today on our episode today, we are going to talk about very important topic of discussion today. And it could be very emotional to some people, but try to put every kind of emotion behind you and get the facts that are available in our discussion today. We're going to talk today on male and female infertility. And to do that, our guest with us today, to answer our question that you might have, is a consultant gynecology, and he's also the CEO of Delta Hospital in Abuja, North Central Nigeria. Join me in welcoming Dr. Sonny Onu. Dr. Sunday Onu, welcome to the program today.
Yeah, thank you, Dan Emma. It's always been a privilege to participate in issues that concerns fertility, because it's an area I'm very passionate about. I'm sure that by the end of today's talk and discussion, a lot of people will have something to take home with. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I am Daniel Ima, your host for today. So we're going to go straight to the point, and we're going to ask some questions. And the rule today is that when we ask a question, and our guests do a very good job on it by explaining to us, that will put you in a position to ask an informed questions. Whatever questions have been bothering your mind about infertility, the opportunity has come to your doorstep today, courtesy of Linkway Diplomats Hour. You can sit back and take advantage of it. Our first question today, our guest, is going to be, we're going to start with you. Tell us, who is Dr. Onu?
Yeah, okay. Dr. Onu Sunday Omale is just but an instrument in God's hand. I'm a consultant gynecologist with a special interest in fertility management and endoscopic, gynecological endoscopic surgeries, amidst other things. I've come a long way in medical practice and in general practice. I've been in the field of O&G for over 2 decades now, and God has really been helping us, particularly here in Nigeria, in Dida Hospital. It's been our passion and our desire, our drive to put smiles on people's faces through the mighty hand of God, because it's only God that can do the ultimate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Onu. That is a wonderful work you are doing there in that part of the world. And we are going to ask another questions, and our viewers follow up with this. After these questions, we are going to give an opportunity for you to make your calls and ask your question. Our first question for you, Dr. Onu. At what point do you recommend for a new couple, to begin to think about seeking for consultation with a physician, a fertility physician?
That's very key. Yeah, it's a very key question because, there is no stereotyped plan as per this is the time generality. However, if we want to do things in generality, before we can establish that there is a fertility problem, WHO came up with a definition of what infertility is. When a couple have stayed 1 year together, frequent and unprotected sexual intercourse within 1 year and there is no conception, we now say, oh, there is a problem, seek for help. However, there are some instances that you do not have to wait for that 1 year before you go seeking help. A lady that is getting married to go immediately, or a lady who, before even getting married, has had some challenges in the past where she had to have a surgery to remove one tube or the other because of a complication, a gynae complication. If such person get married, he should seek help earlier than the stipulated time. So this is a variability. It's not a constant. But if you put in generality of terms, 1 year is what is prescribed by the World Health Organization.
Thank you, Dr. Unu, and I know that this will help some, people that are actually waiting for this moment. Thank you for breaking it down for us. We will actually give opportunity when the time comes for our viewers to ask questions, and I know you are ready to take their questions. I'll take the next question, even as we await calls and chats. Viewers take advantage of our chat room and also text, to our, the number that is listed on the phone on your screen there, so that Doctor could take your questions. And I know you'll be glad to ask today. Our next question is, do you have an age limit? Is age a factor in infertility? Age. Do you have any age that you say this is a no-go area? I mean, for children, for childbearing and all that, do you have any cap in terms of age for, that you could be thinking that infertility might be something to watch?
When we talk of age plays a very key role in fertility, particularly in women. It's not very so in men, but the life of a woman is like a clock. I mean, that's the fertility of a woman. It's tied around the menstrual cycle. It will be very difficult for you to see a woman, any lady, conceive before she attains the age of menarche. Menarche is the time that they attain their first, when they are matured. Getting their first menses, kind of, So that's where reproductive cycle is initiated. Almost being completed for a woman. Then, when menopause comes in, it now becomes also extremely difficult for a woman to conceive at that time because all the eggs in the reserve have been burnt out. Not that it's completely zero egg, but the egg gets burnt out because God gave us more than enough egg as women that you can never utilize in your lifetime. Just that a time comes, it gets burnt out and it's of no use any longer. Critical age, the prime age for fertility is between the ages of 18 and 34 plus. When you cross 35, fertility begins to become a challenge, particularly in women. I'm talking of women specifically now. As you cross 35, fertility begins to decline. More so after 37, that's when you get to 39, Then when you cross that magic age of 40, there is a sharp decline in fertility after the age of 40. And this continues to go down as you add any year on top of 40 until menopause sets in. Menopause is a relative term, and the age of menopause is different from different women. And there's one thing I want us to know, the women folk. There's what we call, before the real physical menopause occurs, where there's cessation of menses. Where there's cessation of menses, there is what we call the biochemical menopause, where the changes already that have started happening within the system are already showing that menopause is setting in. Fertility becomes extremely difficult at that point in time. But for men, it's slightly different. A man at 80 can be as very, very virile or fertile as a young man. However, it's also scientifically, there's some scientific evidence that, age has to do with male fertility, but not significantly as it affects the women folk.
Thank you, Dr. Unu. That's a very, very good point in time for us to have our first commercial break. And as we do that, we are also expecting some our chat room to be busy with questions there at this point. And when we come back from our commercial break, we will continue from there. So viewers, stay tuned and do not go away.
Thanks for staying with us. To complement government's efforts at providing portable drinking water, a United States-based non-governmental organization has provided a borehole to address the water challenge being faced by the Zangie community in Nasarawa State. Agatha Joseph Obioha reports.
Water, they said, is life. This is the river where the gay community access their drinking water. Residents of this community, located in Kari local government area of Nasarawa State, are predominantly farmers and lack access to potable drinking water for decades before Linkway Africa came to their aid.
Our passion is to meet the critical needs of the needy communities.
Our vision is to provide water support, education support, and then health support and food support.
And it's this community that is benefiting for the first time from within the African region.
The community, who could not hide their joy, expressed gratitude to the donors and pledged to make proper use of the facility.
Yes, sir, I'm happy with them. The thing that we are doing for this village, for the village of Zangie, we are happy with them.
Because we have been suffering for water for so long, which is why sometimes we don't have water able to take our bath, no water to take bath. But for today, we are very, very happy for that.
Before they suffer, what they drink this river water, what they go, disease everywhere.
Linkway African Outreach Ministry is a faith-based non-governmental organization which was incorporated in 2010 to care for people and communities in need. From Kefi, Agatha Joseph Obioha, NTA News.
Welcome back to the program, and thank you for staying tuned. Again, we have our guest here today, Dr. S.O. Onu. He's a consultant gynecology and the CEO of Deda Hospital in Abuja, Nigeria. And we have been talking about male and female fertility, infertility, for you to know that this thing is not gender biased, just as some of us will be thinking that it's only with female alone that there is infertility. We are here today to accept the reality by asking any question that you have on you. It's good to hear from the horse's mouth. So we're going to ask our guests more questions as according to the data that we collected from the field. And we believe that, God will use them to do a good justice to it today. And next question, Dr. Onu, for you is that when you are faced with infertility reality, tell us how to accept that reality and medically manage it.
Okay. One thing with infertility is it is a challenge and it can constitute a social problem sometimes. When you're faced with the problem of infertility, it is what we advise and encourage is never give up. Never just, because you never know until you consult a doctor. what you think might just be a very big problem will just be a very little problem that just simple advice will just solve the problem for you. I've seen a lot of couples come in for consultation, and after chats and everything, you tell them come back in 2 months if there's still a challenge, and they come back in 2 months telling you that they're about 6 weeks pregnant. So a lot of time, do not just be carried away by the fact that there is a problem. And because emotions, when you begin to bring emotion, when you are getting weighed down, it complicates the issue. Because fertility has to do with hormonal interplay between the brain and the ovary. So a lot of interplay happens along the line, and they are hormonal based. If you get emotionally down or get too much worried, it could compound your problem. So my advice is just remain calm, because that problem have a solution. If not with man, then with God.
Thank you, Doctor. Okay, we hope our viewers are taking note of these things because a lot of things has to do with emotions, and you have to put emotions behind you before you can really think, whether to seek the solution from God. Whichever way you seek the solution from, is God that will endorse it. And I think that God is not a God of emotions. So it's good we are hearing this, from the horse's mouth, an expert. As we await questions, I also take our guest today on a general question about the reality of time now. Now, Doctor, let me ask you this question on another aspect of public health. Today we see that a lot of people are restricted, by COVID-19. I think businesses are actually, restricted to how they can do their businesses. There is a lot of public health, sector restriction here and there. Tell us how we can navigate through this season of our life in terms of public safety, precautions, and the rest of them. Some people don't even believe that COVID is a reality. So how do you advise us?
Honestly, yeah, it is actually very amazing, and it is very touching. This period, this pandemic that has befallen the world. But one thing I know is that God will definitely see us through, and very soon. The reality is that COVID-19 is real. It is not a make-up news, because a lot of people never believed. They thought it's a gimmick, it's a scientific hoax. Trying to kind of scientific manipulation. COVID-19 is here with us. It is real. I've had very close. I've known very close people who came down with COVID-19. And it's real. Now, the unfortunate thing is, several people don't get to believe this until they come in close contact. I have a friend who never believed there was COVID until a cousin of his, unfortunately, died of COVID. Unfortunately. I'll say unfortunate. That was when he realized that, this thing is real. We don't have to wait till that point. We could prevent this. A lot of things depend on us. Like it said that COVID actually doesn't usually come to meet us. We go out to invite it. It's an enemy that if you stay clear of it, it becomes angry because it's going to die. So if we stay clear of COVID by observing all the universal precautions, cleaning your hands always, keeping a distance, don't go out if you must not go out. Don't just go out because you feel like going out. And if you must go out, keep a distance. Then face mask is very important. Put on your face mask, Try and wash your hand or sanitize your hand. Always remember that. One other part that is very difficult is, don't touch your mouth, don't touch your face. It's very difficult. Don't touch your nose. Dan, it's interesting to know that in the early days of COVID, there was a picture that was trending online. Somebody who was addressing the whole world about not touching your face or nose, because of COVID-19. In the course of her address, did touch her nose. So it's very difficult to have to be very conscious about that fact, because he said that in a day, we touch our face or nose severally, involuntarily, unconsciously. But we have to bring to the reality that consciousness that, yes, we have to maintain. Oh, don't shake people anyhow. Yes, you can show love. Love is not only when you touch. You can show love without touching. If you must sneeze or cough, they say, use your elbow. Use this place to block the sneeze. The reason is here, if you use your hand, there's a tendency that you can use your hand to rub elsewhere. But if you do it here, even if this place is infected, it remains, away from contamination for a very long time. Don't touch surfaces anyhow. If we obey, if we just follow all this, then if you know that anybody who knows that is at risk or have come in contact with somebody who have a COVID infection, should try to protect the people around him or her, rather than stay and claim that, no, I can't have it, and you keep, getting in contact and spreading it. If you have it, protect others. If you don't have, protect yourself, not to get it. That way we'll go, far. The ultimate actually is the pharmaceuticals of it. That is the vaccine. And the vaccine is really in advanced stages now. Once the vaccine is out and is affordable and available, then we can really bring this thing to a halt. Otherwise, all these other preventive measures are very, very key and important in making sure that, we get this thing behind and get back to our usual business.
Thank you, Doctor, for sharing this one with us. There is no other way that we could show a kind of love, with our neighbors than this. And viewers, you have heard it. If you are not infected, you could be affected. Please, whatever you can do, do it, and leave the rest to God. It is real. We have lost people in our communities, and we don't want to lose anyone, including you. So keep, calling and be asking your question as we go back to our topic today.
Yeah, Dan. Okay,
let me to be here. Okay, go ahead, Doctor.
Let me chip in this with regard to COVID. COVID and fertility and infertility. A lot of changes in my practice. I've seen a lot of development because before, there are some men, they are too busy, to have attention for their wife and everything. And, the wife is complaining, I've not been able to get pregnant. We have seen some slightly increased surge of pregnancy in this COVID period because of lockdown. People can now stay with their wives, and try to do the needful. And that, in a way, is a small treatment for infertility. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for adding that for us. We need to take a break from work, from any stressful thing, and take time to stay and pay attention to our wife's physiological demand. And that also is the point that we must consider in trying to be fertile. Thank you so much. And our viewer, we're going to proceed on our commercial break. And when we come back, we will continue. Don't go away, stay with us.
Leader hospitals, not just the building, but highly equipped with great infrastructure, because our aim and our goal is to be a world-class healthcare provider using cutting-edge technology.
Being a part of Dida Hospital has inspired me to keep walking the line and remaining strong in my values.
It's our joy to see baby being delivered, whether premature or term, because the mother, the joy that radiates after being discharged.
This would not have been possible if our patient did not believe in our ability.
We do virtually all kinds of clinical investigations and use all forms of diagnostic method.
Quality healthcare is what we do. Quality service is what we deliver.
And here, caring for our patients means we feel what they feel.
Being rewarded with the content smiles of happy clients is my perfect deed of story.
This is Royal Signet College. Royal Signet College, by now, it's no longer a strange name to Linkway. We are located in the suburb of Lagos in a place called Agbara, and we are within the Agbara Industrial Estate community. Agbara Industrial Estate houses plants of great brands, global brands such as Nestle, Unilever, Glasgow Welcome, Procter & Gamble, and so many of such big names. So this wall here is the wall that's separating the Royal Link Christian Center from this piece of land that I want to introduce to Royal Signet, to Linkway Outreach. This piece of land is 2 acres. 2 acres is 12 plots of land by Nigerian standard, and a plot of land is 1.5 million as at now. And so before it starts going up high, I am proposing that we should pick up this 12 piece of land, so that we can build our community center, a Linkway Community Center. Linkway Community Center will house an admin block and also have a warehouse where welfare materials that are sent from the diaspora will be stored pending distribution to various parts of Nigeria. And we are also proposing that it should have a guest house, a decent guest house, where our brethren from the diaspora can come and stay instead of paying exorbitant fee in hotel accommodation. So I'm proposing these 2 acres of land, 12 plots of land at 1.5 million naira per plot times 12 plots for this purpose. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you and God bless.
Hello viewers, welcome back. We're going to continue on our question. And remember, you can make use of our chat room to answer your questions that are bothering on your mind. And you can text your questions in, or you can also use our chat room as well. Now we're going to move forward to ask our guests some questions that we think are very, very important for you. Now, Doctor, our next question that many are asking is that can infertility, whether it's in male or female, be prevented?
Yeah, when we talk of prevention of infertility, it's something that can be prevented, something that can be treated. And the word infertility, has always been something that has been raising some area of controversy in gynecological practice. Not controversy as such, that needed modification. When you say infertile, it tends to be a little bit absolute, that this person cannot reproduce. So subfertility became a milder word that came in, as describing a delay in conception. How do we, tend to prevent infertility treat infertility? The first thing to do is try to identify the cause. What are the possible causes? Anything the cause, then you can try to prevent. Anything you do not have idea of the cause is difficult to prevent. So, identifying the cause of infertility is a major pathway in outlining treatment modalities and preventive modalities. For the women, the causes are different for men and for women. Now, in men, there exists a host of causes which we cannot begin to discuss now because it's a whole textbook, not just a chapter in a textbook, but the textbook itself. However, the whole thing, everything about male infertility centers around one thing, the sperm. Is the sperm okay or not? If the sperm is okay, of course, we rule out the fact that, okay, challenge is coming from the man. But if the sperm is not okay in terms of number, that's the quantity of sperm, in terms of the movement, the motility, in terms of the shape, which is the morphology of the sperm, if there's abnormality in any of these areas, we say, okay, there's a problem. The next thing is what caused that problem. That's where we have gamut of causes of such. And it is usually very difficult to identify in men. But it's very easy to identify that there is a problem. But identifying and treating the cause of that problem is usually very difficult for men. As in the case of women, it's very, very, the causes, are varied. You need to do a lot of checks to pinpoint where the problem is. However, if you pinpoint the problem in a woman, it's easier to profile a solution than, restoring the man's sperm quantity or quality or otherwise. If we look at the women, we can look at it from the brain to the ovary level, to the womb level, down to, the vaginal level, and to the genital tract, external tract level. At any of this level, there could be a problem. However, two major problems exist in the women folk. One is the ovulation problem. Two is the anatomical problem with the tubes, tuber blockage. In our environment, the tuber factor tends to be higher than in the Western world, where the ovulation factor is higher. But now we are also seeing ovulation factor coming in seriously in our environment. Sorry about that. So we need to look in critically, and we'll discuss, and we'll now know how to go about it.
Thank you, Doctor, and thank you so much because you have broken it down for us. I wanted to take another question now before we go on our break, but I think we can go on our break so that you can take some water, and we will come back. Yeah.
Welcome to Royal Signet College. Royal Signet College is a mission-based, free tuition, co-educational secondary school. The aim of this school is to bring up godly offsprings who would become institutional leaders, industrial leaders, political leaders, and religious leaders in the future for the purpose of national development. Royal Signet College is fully compliant to the COVID-19 protocol to ensure that our students are in good health.
Good day, my name is Michael Adejo. I'm the son of the visionary of this great institution. God placed this great mandate on the shoulders of my dad, and I thank God for his life because the grace of God has been keeping him and his wife, who has also been a companion to him. For me, when this school just started, I wasn't really in support of I wasn't really in support of it, so to say, but I just had to succumb because it was an instruction from God that was placed on my parents, and I cannot question that instruction. But naturally speaking, hearing a father resigning from his work and coming into a school that students do not pay fees is kind of awkward, but God has been the money that we spend. He has been keeping us, protecting us as a family and as a school. I thank God for the school because right now I'm in support. I'm in support of it because I've gone through the school for 3 years, and my set is the first graduating set of this great institution, and the 3 years that I have been in this school has blessed my life. So I've come to love and support the vision that God has placed, or the mandate that God has placed on my dad, because throughout the 3 years that my set has gone through in this school, well, we were the pioneer set of this school, and we starting the school was a very weird time. It was so hectic, but God was with us because we started the school, and when we started the school, things were not really in place as it is now. Not that everything is already in place for comfort, but as it is now, it is more comfortable than when the school just started. So I bless God for that. I thank God for the vision of the school, which is to make life changers. The school is grooming soldiers that will bring up other lives.
Leader hospitals, not just the building, but highly equipped with great infrastructure, because our aim and our goal is to be a world-class healthcare provider using cutting-edge technology.
Being a part of Dida Hospital has inspired me to keep walking the line and remaining strong in my values.
It's our joy to see baby being delivered, whether premature or term, because the mother, the joy that radiates after being discharged.
This would not have been possible if our patient did not believe in our ability.
We do virtually all kinds of clinical investigations and use all forms of diagnostic method.
Quality healthcare is what we do. Quality service is what we deliver.
And here, caring for our patients means we feel what they feel.
Being rewarded with the content smiles of happy clients is my perfect Dida story.
Hello, viewers. Welcome back again to our program. This is Linkway Diplomats Hour, your community resource network. Today we are here, to break down infertility in both males and female. And the best person that has been doing justice to that for us is our guest today, Dr. Sonny O. On. He's a consultant gynecology as well as CEO of Dida Hospital in Abuja, Nigeria. Dr. Onu, before we went on break, we were talking about how prevention of fertility could be done, and we thank you for shedding your thoughts on that. But now we're going to move to another serious problems that viewers want to know. The question now is that, is there any genetic bearing? In other words, can infertility run in the family?
Okay, actually, there's no clear-cut pattern of genetic pattern for infertility. However, there are some genetic disorders that are associated with infertility. So it means if there is a transmission of such disorder from the parents to the offspring might come up with such a problem in future. However, in the world of genetics, genetics have come in significantly in infertility management. That's genetic engineering, let me put it that way, or advancement in genetics. Because there are some people whose fertility problem could be due to a genetic issue in the father and mother or either of the two. So whenever the egg meets with the sperm, the resulting offspring will have a genetic problem that will not allow it to implant. Or if at all it implants, it might end up in a miscarriage, early miscarriage. With that, genetic testing of either parents, that's the mother and the father, to try to diagnose whether there's a genetic problem, has played a very big role in infertility management. Above that, in the world of assisted reproductive technology, that is IVF, that's a higher science now, apart from the ordinary, that's the conventional IVF that is done, genetic testing can also be done on the embryo. That is the egg that is fertilized by the sperm. It can be tested genetically before the embryo is transferred to the mother or to the woman. That way, you screen out embryos that are genetically abnormal, that are most likely not going to implant, or if they implant, might end up having a miscarriage, or if they escape the miscarriage phase, will end up having a baby that is genetically deformed. So that's the role of genetics in fertility management is so vast, and it's so wide. So many things, are coming in. There are even some disease condition, that you can genetically modify the egg in order to prevent the transmission of such a condition to the offspring, and you can then have an offspring that is free of the disease. Ordinarily, if it were a spontaneous or normal conception, the offspring is likely to come down with the disease. So you go through the process of IVF genetics, to do some form of treatment before the conception takes place, and by so doing, you have children that are free of such genetic disease transmission line.
Thank you so much, Doctor. And that will move me to another question on the same subject. Apart from the conventional, what you and I used to know as, counseling as pastors, as parents to our children that are going to get married, what you and I used to know, to know for counseling them against is their genetic component, whether they are AA, AS, and all those to avoid sickle cell anemia. So are you going to recommend now, because we see that infertility is becoming another pandemic, it's becoming a serious emotional public health problem. So are you going to recommend now, has the time come to recommend that, hey, as you are going to get married together to the young one, they should also look into finding out things that will actually affect fertility? Is this something that you think you are going to prescribe in the future?
No, actually, the fertility is a different ball game in that context. Pre-marital counseling, when we do that, when we do pre-marital counseling, as professionals, as pastors, as people that are in charge of people who want to get married, bringing in fertility, not infertility. Fertility is what we counsel them, to us as per, okay, tell them what they need to do when the fertile period is, and, when they are likely going to be able to conceive if they meet. But you cannot, foretell that there is going to be a problem until, the problem starts manifesting. So there's, and we cannot bring it to the generality and say, oh, before you get married, there are some tests that you must do, to ensure that you're fertile and everything. If we bring that, it will bring a lot of burden on the health sector. That's one. Two, it also brings a lot of doubt, on on us generally, because God made us perfect. God made us wishing us good and the rest of them. So we should not try to be on the, let me say, oh, this thing is going to happen. No, so it's yet to be inculcated, and I don't think it's going to be in the near future. However, when there are telltale signs of a presumable problem, yes, you bring that in full force, and you advise that they're not going to wait. Because sometimes we meet people who have defined problem. You see a young lady who is about 20 and or 25, trying to get married, and tell you that I've never seen a menses. No, that is a problem. You want to at least investigate that kind of lady, to actually know the real problem, even before she gets married. Yeah. Or you see, somebody who said, okay, a man who come to meet you and say, sorry, it's like I've had an accident to my testes, as a grown-up child when I was in secondary school or something like that. And if I touch my bust now, I don't really feel, I can feel one, but the other one I can't feel very well. That's a challenge we want to really look into before, such a person get married, if it comes forward to you. But, grouping everybody and say, oh, fertility testing should be part of premarital counseling, I think that's going to be a burden.
All right, thank you so much. I still want to take you on one more related question before we go on commercial break. When we come back from commercial break, we are going to talk about how we can assess your facility. But take this question before we do that. We know that infertility, with the data that we have with us, it's not an approved data, but it's, we see that most of the infertility problems that we have with couples now, most of them is with men. And, when we're talking about men infertility, what comes up is, you can prove me wrong about that if you will, but, when we talk about men infertility, what we focus on is sperm count. So, how can you advise a guy that, is getting married and is going into marriage now, to improve of this sperm count, if there is any way to do that? Can you tell us more about sperm count that has to do with infertility?
Yeah. So just like you said earlier, everything that centers around men, fertility, is just that sperm. It's not just only the count. Sperm count, that's the key thing, that's the count. If count is low and every other parameter is good, there's still a problem. If count is good and the other parameters are bad, there's still a problem. We have count, we have movement, we have shape, which is the morphology. All these plays, and there are some other small factors there. But these are the major factors that comes in handy. Now, the ratio of male infertility has actually increased over time. In the past, we used to think that infertility was just a female problem. And particularly in the part of the world where I practice, where there's male dominance, and everything that happens, anything that goes wrong is a woman's fault. And men don't come forth to get tested. So we don't have statistics on them. But of late, with education and civilization, people are now becoming awareness that, men could also have the problem. So they are coming forth. And we see that year in, year out, the proportion of male infertility has been increasing, despite the fact that the goalposts that we use to judge male infertility has always been dropping, right from time. In the past, WHO set a sperm count of 20 million per male as normal, anything above that. But, since 2010, the goalpost has been dropped to 15 million. And yet, we still have a lot of people that are doing below this. One of the problems, associated with this that has to do with social habits, we discovered that hard drugs, marijuana, cocaine, and heroin. All these have elemental factor in male infertility. Excessive alcohol consumption, cigarette smoking, all these things has factors that comes in. Then there's this theory of whatever we wear, our underwear, and what we use. People who use laptop and laptop on the lap because of some heat that is generated. You see, these are things that, are still being investigated. Some with evidence, some without evidence. But you see, once these things exist and we know that they exist, the caution is try to avoid them. Why must you continue to go close to something that has even been implicated or thought to have been implicated? So try to avoid all these things. Watch your social habit, and try to make the environment conducive for the testes, as it were. Try to avoid infections. Infection is a major factor. Infection. Genital infection can affect sperm function, can even cause obstruction of the sperm transport system. So if you maintain a good lifestyle, don't be promiscuous, because sexually transmitted infection is one key factor, that comes in. Maintain a clean life. Let me put it that way. And some of these things can be avoided, can be prevented, and you can go clean. So at least to some extent, yes, we overcome some of these things that are preventable.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ono, and we are so glad we are getting all these things from the horse's mouth. Viewers, do everything to stay safe. You have heard that you have to make a conducive environment for that warehouse of the males, which is the testes. He said it needs a conducive environment. The temperature also, you have to watch it. It doesn't like too much heat for it to maximize its productivity. So you got to stay safe if you can, so that you will not face the problem of infertility. Now we are going to proceed on on our commercial break, and when we come back, we'll continue. Please do not go away.
Thanks for staying with us. To complement government's efforts at providing portable drinking water, a United States-based non-governmental organization has provided a borehole to address the water challenge being faced by the Zangie community in Nasarawa State. Agatha Joseph Obioha reports.
Water, they said, is life. This is the river where the gay community access their drinking water. Residents of this community, located in Kari local government area of Nasarawa State, are predominantly farmers and lack access to potable drinking water for decades before Linkway Africa came to their aid.
Our passion is to meet the critical needs of the needy communities.
Our vision is to provide water support, education support, and then health support and food support.
And it's this community that is benefiting for the first time from within the African region.
The community, who could not hide their joy, expressed gratitude to the donors and pledged to make proper use of the facility.
Yes, sir, I'm happy with them. The thing that we are doing for this village, for the village of Zangie, we are happy with them.
But we have been suffering for water for so long, which is why sometimes we don't have water able to take our bath, no water to take bath. But for today, we are very, very happy for that.
Before they suffer, what they drink this river water, what they go, disease everywhere.
Linkway African Outreach Ministry is a faith-based non-governmental organization which was incorporated in 2010 to care for people and communities in need. From Kefi, Agatha Joseph Obioha, NTA News.
Leader Hospital, not just the building, but highly equipped with great infrastructure, because our aim and our goal is to be a world-class healthcare provider using cutting-edge technology.
Being a part of Dida Hospital has inspired me to keep walking the line and remaining strong in my values.
It's our joy to see baby being delivered, whether premature or term, because the mother, the joy that radiates after being discharged.
This would not have been possible if our patient did not believe in our ability.
We do virtually all kinds of clinical investigations and use all forms of diagnostic method.
Quality healthcare is what we do. Quality service is what we deliver.
And here, caring for our patients means we feel what they feel.
Being rewarded with the content smiles of happy clients is my perfect Dida story.
Hello everyone, we are so appreciative of your time that you take to stick with us today on this program. We are Linkway Diplomats, your community resource network program. We are here live with Dr. Onu, who is actually breaking down male and female infertility for us, what you need to do, to keep yourself happy after you get married. We're going to go on some questions, and then we'll be going to our closing segment for today. A question to our guest now is, our viewers have heard everything that you said here today, and they are wondering how they can access your service. So, Dr. Onu, can you tell us how our viewers could benefit from the good work you're doing in Africa?
Okay, thank you, Dan, and viewers. We been in this business of fertility care, and we're located in Abuja, the capital of Nigeria. We can be reached online, through www.didahospital.com. That's our official website. If you get there, you get all the information, www.didahospital.com. Online portal that for people who are not even within Nigeria, who are in diaspora, who are in UK, US, because we have a lot of clients coming from there. You have our numbers, you can call direct. We have a customer service care that will take care of all your needs. And we can arrange how you can access us physically, without putting more demand on your time, So, and in this practice, we offer a wide range of services, from counseling to, giving medication, going to IVF if your case requires IVF, if your case requires genetic testing, we go as far as that. And whatsoever there is, God willing, God has always been empowering us. But there's just one thing I need to admonish us, that infertility, as it were, is not absolute. God did not give give birth to us, allow us to be born infertile. When God made us as men, He says everything was good and perfect. So, and He gave a charge, that we should go and multiply. It's like a command and a charge, and it's something that is a prophecy that any human being, has the ability of reproducing its kind. So if you have a delay today, it is not that you are out. It is not that you cannot. What I would advise is that, what I would say is that because God is preparing you for that special child. If you watch a Christian, all those that had delays in the Bible, they have special children. Sarah had a delay. He had Isaac. Then Jacob came. Then we know about Samson. We know about Samuel. Those are special children that came from delay. But those that have no delay, we don't even hear about their children. They are not children of exploit. So if you have a delay, don't be discouraged. God is preparing a very special one for you. And God uses men as channel, to reach out to you. And we are such a tool in God's hand. I know that everything will be okay by the grace of God. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Onu. Viewers, you have heard from the horse's mouth. Dr. Onu is not just a physician, he's also a pastor, and you can hear the tone of his counseling. He's also a resident pastor in a very big church in Africa. He combined that, with his, civic job. This is the place that we think could be a point for us to bring our program today to a conclusion. But we want you to stay tuned for our other subsequent episode. But before we do that, I want to encourage you to go to our website, as it shows on our screen, to support our projects. We are the doing gospel people. I will put the gospel of Christ into visible good works for people to see. One of them is what you're seeing today. We have all our projects, in Africa and also here in the United States. We actually do community service projects. In Africa, we do water, we do health, we do education, and we do food. So you can, if you are there today and you are passionate about this, you can reach out to the less privileged, people through our platform. We have our volunteers in Africa, that we call them our food soldiers. They do all the running around for us here to accomplish our mission in Africa. So if you want to be part of this good thing, please visit our website, to support there. And also we have a cash app that you can also, support us with a token to keep this project on air. God bless you, and we are looking forward to seeing you next time on our subsequent episode. God bless you, and we will see you next time. Bye.
The world could be a better place with love and unity. Together, we shall conquer the world. Linkway Diplomats is working to solve problems in needy areas such as water problem, community empowerment, community health, basic education, temporary shelters for homeless and travelers, rehabilitation and integration for inmates. Linkway Diplomats, linking people with people. Your community resource network.